said last night the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and Mrs. Raglan were involved in this near catastrophic chess at the hands of a ring
and her leaving the royal family and all the tea they spilled on the royal family with her mocking the queen with her deep bow or curtsy.
Thanks to their insatiable desire to finally tell their story, like to Oprah.
And so picture this. Megyn Kelly looks straight into the camera, her eyes sharp, her tone firm, and suddenly drops the question. A question no one dared to voice out loud, but everyone was whispering behind closed doors. She asks about Meghan Markle's real age. Can you imagine the shock? It wasn't just a harmless curiosity, it was the spark that ignited a firestorm online. The internet went wild, dissecting every detail, every timeline Megyn had ever shared. Her carefully polished story, the one she worked so hard to build, was suddenly hanging by a thread. Because here's the truth, Megyn's story has always seemed a little flexible.
Megyn Kelly didn't mince words. She looked straight at the camera and said what so many had only whispered. Is Megyn
shifting with each retelling? It's like her narrative keeps getting updated, revised, and retouched, as if she's rewriting her own past on the go. But here's the juicy part. When cracks show in a public image, they multiply fast. Megyn may have thought she could control her story, but what she didn't see coming was the level of investigation this one question would unleash. And let me tell you, this is just the beginning. You'd better buckle up because the drama only gets deeper. Megyn never imagined this kind of spotlight. She believed she had built a bulletproof foundation.
But today felt like the perfect day to address a theory that many people out there have been speculating on, that Meghan...
Trust me.
Carefully crafted speeches, polished documentation, timelines that should have been crystal clear. She saw herself as the modern woman who shook up traditions, someone who could connect across cultures and backgrounds. She wanted to be the breath of fresh air in the suffocating royal halls. But here's the kicker. When you set yourself up as flawless, people will start digging. And Megyn's solid story wasn't as unshakable as she thought. Her whole narrative was like a glossy magazine cover, shiny and perfect at first glance. But when you look closer, you see the edits, the retouches, the parts that just don't add up. Megyn got too comfortable thinking her version of events would be swallowed whole by the public.
Now today, Meghan Markle, the Montecito Mona, has given yet another masterclass in victimization disguised as a podcast.
She presented what she wanted the world to see, spotlighting the flattering details, pushing aside the awkward ones. And let's not forget, she's no stranger to reinvention. From Hollywood actress to humanitarian, from celebrity circles to royal status, Megyn's always managed to spin her story just right. And she was good at it, no doubt about that. But here's where reality slapped back hard. Once you step into the royal world, every single detail becomes fair game. And I mean every detail. Unlike Hollywood, where you can dodge the paparazzi or brush off gossip.
Any lies of Meghan Markle. That is the subject of today's Talking Points. Meghan Markle.
The royals live under constant verification. Every timeline, every document, every claim, triple-checked, cross-referenced, and broadcast worldwide. And suddenly, Meghan's art of narrative control started to crumble. What she thought was clever management, releasing the right details at the right time, turned into a ticking time bomb. Because once people began connecting the dots, those tiny inconsistencies became glaring red flags.
Megyn, no! Don't do it! If you want things, look at me, Megyn Kelly. If you want things to stay this...
She underestimated the power of modern audiences who, let's be real, are like digital detectives. The moment something doesn't add up, they will tear it apart. That's when it all came crashing down. An overlooked, harmless photo, just one tiny picture, sparked an avalanche Megyn could never have predicted. It wasn't a scandalous tabloid snap, not even a paparazzi ambush. No, it was something so ordinary it almost feels laughable. A college salsa club picture. Yep, that was the trigger. It looked innocent enough. A group of Northwestern University students smiling, dancing, enjoying salsa lessons. Nothing but joy, laughter, and campus life. Megyn probably thought, perfect. This shows me as fun, cultured, relatable, a harmless memory, right? Wrong.
The truth. Meghan Markle's ageless allure. In the ever-evolving world of royal dynamics,
that simple, cheerful snapshot ended up being Exhibit A in the case against her timeline. At first glance, Megyn probably welcomed it. Why wouldn't she? It painted her as a student fully immersed in campus life, embracing culture, blending in. But here's the twist. People didn't stop at the surface. They zoomed in, analyzed every face, every smile, and every birth year tied to the students in that photo. And what they discovered flipped the whole narrative upside down. Because shockingly, most of the people in that group were born in the early 1970s, which means today they'd be in their early 50s.
Meghan Markle will marry into Britain's royal family on May 19th, when she ties the knot.
But wait. Meghan's official birth year is 1981. Do you see the problem here? That's nearly a decade of difference. Suddenly, the math just didn't work. And here's the jaw dropper. Megyn didn't look out of place at all. She blended right in with that crowd. No awkward age gap, no younger than everyone else vibe. She looked perfectly at home, as if she belonged to that generation. And that's when whispers turned into shouts.
You see a tweet like this, please report it to head of security immediately. And it just said,
Was Megyn's age really what we've been told all along? Because if her official age was true, she should have stood out. She should have been the noticeably younger student, the one who looked a decade fresher. But nope. There she was, seamlessly fitting in with a group of people supposedly much older. And that's when things started spiraling. If the photo didn't line up with her timeline, what else didn't line up? And that's when investigators, and trust me, the internet has plenty of them, realized this wasn't just a one-off slip. That salsa club picture was just the tip of the iceberg, the first domino. Megyn's background had breadcrumbs leading to the same glaring question. Was her age story fabricated? And here's where it got even more suspicious. People started digging further and realized Megyn's name kept popping up in events, groups, and alumni records where, once again, the age ranges didn't match up. Over and over again, Megyn was right there, but always in circles older than her supposed 1981 birth year would explain. Coincidence? Some thought so at first, but when the same thing kept happening across different years and different contexts, that excuse began to crumble. She wasn't just casually popping into these groups either. She blended in naturally. That's what blew people's minds. If it had been a one-time thing, fine, chalk it up to preference. But no, this was a repeated pattern. Megyn consistently aligned herself with older demographics, both socially and professionally, and the way she fit in so seamlessly made people whisper, maybe her official timeline isn't the whole truth. It wasn't just friends or salsa lessons. Even in professional circles, she always seemed to gravitate toward those a decade older than she claimed to be. And the strangest part, she never looked out of place. No awkward, you're too young to be here vibes. She fit. That's what made the speculation take root. What if she wasn't younger at all, but exactly the right age for those groups? Each new detail only deepened the mystery. Piece by piece, the official story began to feel less like fact and more like a carefully woven narrative. Sure, each example on its own could be brushed aside, but together, they painted a picture of someone who might not be the age she claims, long before she ever met Harry or stepped into the royal spotlight. And then came the bombshell, official paperwork, because this time, it wasn't just about photos or memories, this was about legal records. And when Archie was born, Megyn's first child, everything looked normal at first. His birth certificate listed her full legal name, Rachel Megyn. Clean, proper, official. But then, something strange happened. Just weeks later, that very document was changed. Suddenly, her name was gone. Erased. Instead of Rachel Megyn, it now read, Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. Nothing more, nothing less. And let's be clear, birth certificates aren't things you casually edit like a social media profile. They're supposed to be permanent, untouchable. So why the sudden change? This move left everyone baffled. Other royals had kept their names on their children's birth certificates. So why was Megyn's different? Was this about palace protocol, or was there another reason? The fact that it happened so quickly after Archie's birth only fueled the chatter, and suddenly Megyn's history with documents wasn't just a curiosity, it became a headline. For people already side-eyeing her past, this was proof that Megyn was willing to tweak official records to fit her narrative. And if she'd do it for Archie's birth certificate, what else had she altered? Was her own paperwork untouched? Had other records been updated? Suddenly, speculation turned into a full-blown frenzy. When questioned, Megyn claimed it was about palace protocols. But the problem? The explanation didn't quite hold up. Observers pointed out that other royals never needed to strip away their personal names. This wasn't standard. It was unusual, deliberate, and glaringly suspicious. For critics, it was gold. Here was verifiable evidence that Megyn's official documents were altered. And with that, the whispers of age discrepancies weren't just gossip anymore. They were anchored by something real. It was like clockwork. Bad press in the morning, childhood photo in the afternoon. And instead of reassuring the public, it screamed damage control. But what really raised eyebrows? The missing photos. Whole chunks of her life where pictures just didn't exist, or at least didn't surface. It created gaps, and in those gaps, people's imagination went wild. Because let's face it, when you try to hide something, people only get hungrier to find it, and Megyn, perhaps without realizing, had given them a puzzle to solve. Then, as if all this wasn't enough, Megyn turned to the courts. And oh, did that backfire. She thought legal action would silence her critics, shut down rumors, and give her back control. But instead, every court case became a treasure chest of information. Court documents don't lie. They have dates, details, and timelines that can be cross-referenced. And once they're filed, they become public record. Her lawsuit against her half-sister Samantha Markle, what was meant to be a fight over reputation turned into a courtroom microscope. Suddenly, people were combing through every word, every line, comparing her statements to what she'd said in interviews, to what was written in Finding Freedom, to what appeared in earlier documents. And the inconsistencies started piling up. What Megyn thought would protect her ended up feeding the frenzy. Every legal move opened more doors, revealed more discrepancies, and poured gasoline on the fire she was desperately trying to put out. By now, Megyn's attempts at controlling the story were doing the exact opposite. Instead of silencing speculation, she was fueling it. Online investigators, regular people with laptops and too much free time, became relentless. Forums, Twitter threads, YouTube deep dives. Her timeline was dissected like never before. The Northwestern salsa photo, the altered birth certificate, the suspiciously polished photos, the lawsuits, each one linked to the other until Megyn's entire narrative looked like a carefully crafted house of cards. And then, just when the noise was at its loudest, Megyn Kelly struck. Kelly had been watching. She saw the online debates, the age theories, the whispers growing louder, and with that signature icy precision, she asked the question straight to the camera. Was Meghan Markle really the age she claimed to be? It was devastating in its simplicity. No accusations, no shouting, just one clean, direct question. And the timing? Perfect. The internet had already done the groundwork. The public was already buzzing. Kelly didn't need to prove anything. She just needed to ask. And suddenly Megyn was cornered. The question wasn't about scandals or gossip anymore. It was about the foundation of her identity. Was she really born in 1981? Or had she shaved a few years or even a decade off her real age? This wasn't speculation anymore. This was the moment the mainstream caught up with the whispers online. And here's where it stings the most. If Megyn was really born earlier, say 1975 or 1977 instead of 1981, it changes everything. Her Hollywood career wouldn't be the tale of a young, ambitious actress breaking through. It would be the story of a woman fighting uphill against an industry notorious for sidelining older women. Her royal fairy tale wouldn't be about a fresh, modern outsider shaking up centuries of tradition. It would be about a carefully packaged version of youth and relatability that might not have been real at all. And that possibility? It shook her entire public image to the core.